It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Force. I am David Cottingham here with my partner, Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome as we expand on the galaxy far, far away, the Star Wars galaxy. Very, I don't even know if exciting is the word to describe this show.
Yes.
Because
Booming.
for one, we have some great news.
Yeah.
We got a great comic to talk about. So in the vein of that, we're going to hit on somebody I think is very important character-wise, but there's not a lot there because we need to get on to some more important stuff.
Yeah.
So we decided, since it's January and we're following the movies, we are in episode 6 month right now. Last week we started off by doing the Sarlacc, which was a fantastic creature to learn about.
That was a good episode.
Yeah.
Actually, a buddy of mine, Cody Geiler, texted me. He's like, "Oh, listen to it, man. I loved it."
Yes.
I was like, "Actually, yeah, that was a good episode."
That was a good one. And we are continuing episode 6 month here on Inside the Force with another character that ended up playing a significant role in the rebellion, which you may not even know about. But we're going to talk about Crix Madine. Now, if you remember from the movies, he was not called Crix. He was called General Madine. By Admiral Akbar, when they were briefing, to attack the second Death Star on Home One, I think it was. It had to have been Home One probably.
Yeah,
that they were on, which is another one we got to do eventually because
Yes.
Home One is awesome. So Crix Madine, so he made a very, very brief appearance. So not knowing, obviously, unless you research him, or maybe he's in the expanded universe a lot. I don't know. I wouldn't know.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
A little bit. I mean, he's in it a little bit, but I don't know if he's huge.
Right.
I
So
don't know.
if he is, and it illustrates it, you would figure out basically that he is actually a turncoat. He basically came over from the Imperial Army. He defected and joined the Rebel Alliance. But before we get into that, just a little quick background on him. He is from Corellia, which we've actually profiled.
Yes.
Same planet.
Long ago.
Yes, same planet as Han Solo, Wedge Antilles, Garambel Bliss, right? So from Corellia, born about 31 BBY, so right before Episode 1, or right after Episode 1. Eventually, as he rose and grew up, he joined the Imperial Army, of course, and moved up the ranks really quickly. He was big and innovative tactician. He was an innovative tactician and an excellent leader, which moved him up in the ranks. And see, this is what's cool about him. Actually, he's a very different Imperial officer that we've actually highlighted, even one that you may know, because we talked about Maximilian Veers.
Yeah.
If you know Admiral Piet, obviously, who was in charge of all the Death Squadron, basically. But this is a guy that made his mark with the smaller tactical groups.
Okay.
So he, the Imperial Army wanted to combat the guerrilla warfare that the rebels were doing.
Yeah.
Small strikes here, small strikes there. We even talked about it with the X-Wings, how they would fly in with X-Wings because they had
made for that.
Yeah, because they had hyperdrives. They wouldn't need like a big frigate ship or a big like Home One spaceship. So they would strike and just move on before they even knew it. So he was instructed to create a strike force to counter this group. So he created what was called the Storm Commandos, and he handpicked these commandos from stormtrooper ranks, and he trained them himself. So he led units in a number of missions, combating these guerrilla attacks from the Alliance, or even finding out, about where rebels were hiding, and then would take his Storm Commandos in. But what's weird is that after each mission, he actually started questioning what he was doing, which led to him to eventually decide to defect. He attempted to defect prior to the Battle of Yavin, which was episode 4,
Right.
and to prove his loyalty to the Alliance before he did, because they were obviously questioning, who's this rebel or who's this Imperial guy who wants to come over here. He sabotaged what was called the Operation Strike Fear. And Operation Strike Fear was basically a counterattack by the Imperials against this rebel strike force. So he sabotaged it by letting the rebels know, and sabotaged, which ultimately led to the destruction of the Star Destroyer Invincible.
Dang. Not so invincible.
Exactly. That's pretty ironic. I know how to destroy the Invincible.
Yeah.
What? So anyway, so he helped that, which obviously gained favor with Mon Mothma and the Rebel Alliance. But it wasn't until the Empire ordered him to release what was called the Chandorian Plague
Sounds
on
nasty.
the planet Dentil that he was basically like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, actually, the problem is that he actually did it.
Oh, man.
And then he was like, because he was so guilt ridden
Yeah.
over basically killing this entire population, almost Dantalian population, that it was 11 months after Battle of Yavin he finally totally left the Imperial Navy. And what was crazy is, so he disappears, he erases himself from Imperial records. So they don't even have records of him being on, which is weird because apparently the HoloNet news channel still reported him leaving.
Oh, my gosh.
But somehow he erased his records.
Dang.
So who knows? But I guess the sad part of the story is he had a fiance,
Oh, man. Yeah. Here we go.
and he did not tell her. He didn't want to put her in danger and tell her that he went to the rebels, so he just left.
Dang.
Yeah, left her.
I'm sure they killed her anyways.
Probably. I don't know. They don't even mention her name on here. They just kind of talk about him leaving her
Stinks.
because apparently there's no record of him anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Doesn't exist.
So one of the first things he provided the Rebel Alliance was very, very deep information about the Dark Trooper Project, which was happening around this time. And what was that case? You know what that was?
The Dark Troopers, they were basically battle droids, advanced battle droids, which is strange because he thought the Empire were done with
I know.
robots.
Yeah.
But they had these battle droids they called Dark Troopers, and they weren't, I guess it didn't seem like that they were really used a whole lot. They had 3 prototypes, and basically these were infantry droids that had a lot of, they were armored with these exoskeletons, these like heavy platings. It looked like armor of a stormtrooper, but instead they were like really, they had a lot of defenses. It was armor that could actually attack back, basically like these power weapons. They had jump packs and all this kind of stuff. And people who play Battlefront games should know some of these guys, some of these Dark Troopers. But basically, as I said, there were 3 phases. Phase 1, Dark Trooper, was just a simple skeletal droid, very kind of wimpy looking compared to the other ones. He had just a vibroblade and a physical shield. And the vibroblade, if you're not familiar, is a sword, again, with like the KOTOR games, or even it was used in the Clone Wars a little bit. Vibroblade is just this really strong blade that can withstand lightsabers and energy swords of any type. So it had a vibroblade, a physical shield, and it was just like a test, basically, for the later stages.
Is that kind of what Death Watch used?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was a vibroblade. And it was some like weird black one or something like that. So then phase 1 was just a test. Basically, it was like this little tiny thing. But then phase 2, it got bigger. It was, everything with phase 1 had, I guess, but it had more external elements. It had, I guess, just more defenses again on its exoskeleton. It had more things that can fire back at you, but really doesn't get good until Phase 3 Dark Trooper, which was the main unit. It was never fully developed, but it was still like the biggest thing. There's like a picture here that I wish we can show you guys, like this gigantic, this huge, big, towering robot basically, and he has like a big hand cannon thing with like 6 barrels. It looks like he's a pretty monstrous looking thing, and they look like stormtroopers, but they're in fact robots. There's nobody inside of it, and these are 3 phases, and they weren't really used. I mean, they were on this ship called the Arc Hammer. They were on this. Well, it wasn't a ship. It was a mission to the Arc Hammer, where they were used a lot. And they were used a lot in the expanding universe, which we won't go into. They're in a lot of video games, like I said. So there's not much there with them, besides just to know that there's those 3 phases, and they were barely used outside of this one big mission. Mm-hmm. But that was basically the Dark Troopers.
So he provided a lot of information on that project to the Rebel Alliance. He was also captured several times, a couple times by the Imperials. The first being captured by General Ram Mak, and when Mon Mothma heard about it, she actually dispatched an expanding universe character, Kyle Katarn, to rescue him. Kyle Katarn being a former Jedi, or I guess a Jedi still.
A Jedi. He's kind of like a Batman of the Justice League,
right? But
we'll see a card of him soon.
And he's coming in the card game, correct? In the next expansion, actually, the first expansion coming out next month. So Katarn saves him, and then he actually eventually was intercepted to be captured again, but Rogue Squadron appeared and helped him escape, and as he was heading to Corellia. So as the rebel leader, of course, coming from the Imperial Navy, a lot of Alliance commanders were very suspicious of him, didn't trust him, but he was allowed into the High Command Advisory Council by the permission of one General Riken, who we have profiled on here. Very big proponent of Echo Base, when he's basically commander of Echo Base. And because of his Imperial knowledge and tactics, it earned him the position of Chief Military Advisor on the Advisory Council and Supreme Commander of Alliance Special Forces.
Supreme Commander.
So he was a big dog in the Alliance.
Kind of
yeah, he was kind of a big deal. But of course, because of his background with tactical and guerrilla warfare and all that stuff, that's what he kind of focused on with the Alliance, was those little battles, those skirmishes. He actually he led Gold Squadron on several missions. He led forces with strikes with Rogue Squadron, including raids on this is the Battle of Kessel. So he was highly involved in just tactical warfare with the smaller ships and ground forces. So made a very impressive, just a huge impression on the Rebel Alliance. And then of course comes Episode 6. It was his plan to put the tactical units on Endor to take out the shield generator, which allowed Lando and Wedge to go in and destroy the second Death Star. So one rebel leader there that was a former Imperial officer.
Did it say? Did you read ever how he got that cool cane that he used in Episode 6? He had that cool cane, didn't he? Like a little thing with the.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he had a cane.
I don't know if he did.
Or not necessarily. Maybe the cane was like a smaller thing.
Oh,
I feel like he did.
Maybe I don't know.
He had great hair and great beard.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he did beyond Episode 6.
Yeah, like a little staff thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, it doesn't say anything about that.
His Bieber haircut. Great.
So it talks about a lot of what he did, his service to the New Republic, which ultimately, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but ultimately probably will not be part of the canon. So we definitely won't get into that because according to this, he died 12 years after the Battle of Yavin.
And the actor's still living, right? I believe.
I'm not sure about that, but maybe.
If he is, he could still be in episode 7.
He was portrayed by Dermot Crowell. So, maybe.
Maybe.
Wow, it says, this is cool. Tom Kane, who was the voice of Yoda in the Clone Wars, provided his voice for Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, and Rogue Squadron 3, Rebel Strike, which I guess were games.
Jeez. And Dermot Crowley is still living. He is 66, so he's not that old.
How crazy would he...
Bring him back. Do it.
Wow, would that make him the same age, right? About the
that
same
would be pretty,
age.
Yeah, that would be...
Because 30 years after episode...
Everybody would be the same age, pretty much.
Yeah, he would... Well, 30 years before the Battle of Yavin and 30 years after...
Yeah. We'll see. I mean,
yeah, he'd be about that age, really.
Yeah, I mean, so would all the other actors, wouldn't they? Kind of, maybe a little younger than, or a little. Let's see, episode 6, 83. So yeah, like 30, 40 years, right?
From
episode
it's been
6.
Well, the 30th anniversary was last year.
Okay,
so
31 years.
31 years since.
So there would be a little. They may be portrayed a little.
Well,
Harrison Ford was...
Harrison's like 70, right?
Yeah.
I think he's older.
Yeah. But everybody's...
But Carrie's younger.
Yeah, she'd
probably be the closest.
Yeah.
And Luke maybe too.
And Mark Hamill was a couple years older.
Yeah. They would probably
be cool.
All right. Yeah. But he would be perfect too,
yes.
actually. So that's,
he's good age.
That's crazy. Anyway, okay, that is General... Madine. Which, see, that's weird because actually it doesn't ever say when he gets the actual general title because he's chief military advisor and he's supreme commander.
So that's just because...
But they call him General Madine.
Yeah, he's just not that popular in the expanded universe, so they just haven't written it in there yet.
Yeah, it's not... well, he was general during episode 6.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really.
They were giving out that general rank to everybody.
I know. Lando was general. Yeah, which, see, Lando should have been. Should he been? Well, I guess I didn't know. Yeah, I guess they do have generals. Well, because they have one Admiral Akbar, but which is normally he's the fleet guy, right?
Yeah.
So general, I figured general would be more of the ground forces.
Yeah.
But General Solo, General Calrissian.
I guess Skywalker might have been.
Skywalker was Commander Skywalker.
Commander, okay.
I don't think he was... Yeah, he was still Commander Skywalker, I think.
Cool.
But General Lando.
Hey,
General
you got a ship? You're a general.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's move on to... what do you want to do first?
We'll do the comic first or news first? Or?
Yeah, let's do the comic.
Okay.
So Star Wars number 13 came out, written by Brian Wood. Now, we talked about last week how Marvel is taking over. Was that last week? I guess it was last week, yeah. Marvel is taking over the Star Wars comic line once 2015 hits. So Dark Horse has them for one more year here. And this book, it's in question right now. There's a lot of rumors going on whether or not a lot of fans are actually speaking out that they want this book to continue on. They want this to be part of the canon. Yeah. But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Marvel
we'll
now
talk about that.
Decides whether or not any Dark Horse title continues or gets canceled.
Yeah. But ultimately, actually, it's Lucasfilm that decides.
Yeah.
Marvel just publishes what they tell them to do. But anyway, what do you think about this?
That was my favorite one so far. It's pretty good.
Yeah, this was the first one that featured Darth Vader. I mean, he's kind of showed up for a couple pages, here and there. But this one he's trying to figure out, we've been talking about how the last story arc was basically about this. It ended with basically you found out that the nephew of Mon Mothma was in fact a Imperial spy. And he came over and revealed himself, and Vader now is trying to figure out how this happened. And he's basically going on a rampage. He handpicks some stormtroopers, grabs this pilot, to fly him around, takes it off the books, like no one knows what he's doing. He starts asking questions.
Like, even going against Palpatine.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. And then he walks in that whole room with all those Imperials, starts slamming them on the table, makes one of them shoot himself.
He's snapping necks and cashing checks.
Oh, man, yeah. He's going off. So very, very good book.
Good cameo in the end.
Yes.
Towards the end.
I know.
Oh, my gosh, that was a good part.
Yeah.
Good scene.
So very good book. Got to pick it up if you haven't picked it up yet. Because like I said, so this is 13, so you're going to get about to 25. Actually, I read that, or Russell told me on In the Comics. Russell told me that he had read that Brian Wood actually had a 21 issue arc, basically.
Oh, he's contracted, I guess, to do 21 issues?
I guess. Like his story was like 21, maybe 22 issues.
Cool.
Which would be pretty much to the end of this year almost. So it may end, and we'll see whether or not it gets picked up or if they get him to go on into. So anyway, so we'll talk a little bit about that when we get into the news here.
Yeah. The news. Okay, well, there's several little things and some big things. So just really quick, I just want to go through these several small things. It's really cool. Like Disneyland. There have been a lot of renovations that are going to be in place with Disneyland and Disney World, but it's been on hold because of Episode 7. But now, Disneyland, the planners of the theme park, have been debriefed on everything about Episode 7. Plot, characters, everything. So now they're going to start making these theme parks now to go alongside with Episode 7. And I guess maybe the future movies as well. I don't know, but the story arc. But, so basically the script is done. I would say it's pretty much, probably done.
Yeah, I think it is.
So, yeah, things are going to be happening really fast, really soon, and we can tell already with this week. So let's keep moving. Let's see. I don't want to hit on any more of the... Should I just do all the movie news right now? Or, save some of the movie news for the last. Just go ahead and do all the movie news. Because we got the...
the big one is probably the continuity thing, right? Yes,
yeah.
Let's do all the movie ones. Yeah.
Okay. So, moving on, there's some more casting rumors. Of course. These three ones are pretty interesting, though. You have Michael Fassbender, Hugo Weaving, and Adam Driver, who's the guy from Girls, who was rumored... is he Nightwing? Or is he rumored to be Nightwing? He was rumored to be Nightwing.
That was all rumor. Yeah. Nothing's been confirmed.
But so that's why I don't believe this, because it's this guy, and he's a goofy-looking guy.
Yeah.
So he's being. These are all rumored to be considered for parts. So I doubt. If anybody, maybe Hugo Weaving would be like he could be a Thrawn. That would be cool. But I don't want Hugo Weaving to be in it, because he'll probably just do the first one and not come back for the second one or something.
True.
He'll make some.
Although he looks like an Imperial officer.
He could do an amazing job.
I think he would too.
He could be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He might bail. But anyways, some more guys. And there's one guy who I think it actually sounds like he could be in it. This kid from Breaking Bad, Jesse Plemons. I don't know him because I never watched the show. Do you recognize him?
Yes, he. I tell you what's weird is that they keep referencing to Breaking Bad, which obviously is a great show and just won best drama series at the Globes. His character in there, even though he had a very, very, very dark character. Like there was spoilers. If there's a scene where they're stealing this certain gas from this train that they need to cook the meth, and they take him on. Jesse, which is weird. Jesse, the character Jesse, that's played by Aaron Paul, and Bryan Cranston's character Heisenberg, Walt.
Yeah.
But they take him. His character is Todd in the show, so they take Todd with them. And they're stealing it. They're stealing. Everything's cool. All of a sudden, they look up, and there's this kid that happened to stumble upon him riding his bike, and they're staring at him. And all of a sudden, Todd,
Jesse Plemons, this actor,
pulls a gun and just kills his kid.
Eesh.
His character was so dark,
but
he played it almost stone faced. So it wasn't very difficult for him to play.
Yeah.
Now the reason I say that is because I know him first. From Friday Night Lights. He was in Friday Night Lights, and I felt like he was a phenomenal character in Friday Night Lights. I liked him in Friday Night Lights, so I knew him before
So he's a pretty good
Breaking
actor.
Bad. So I don't know if Star Wars is right though.
He looks. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Judging by this picture, he's a blonde.
Yeah.
He looks like he's a kind of a jock kind of guy.
He is, and he's kind of nerdy.
He looks.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of played a nerd in Friday Night Lights. Like he
Okay.
played the nerd football player.
Yeah.
Didn't really get much time.
Is he about my age? He looks like he's.
Yeah,
young.
he's probably in his early 20s, mid 20s.
Yeah. Okay.
But he like I said, he performed better in Friday Night Lights. But he's a very good drama actor. I just don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Sci-fi. It's
Yeah.
different. It's a different mold. And Star Wars is totally different. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, it seems like there's several sources that are really close. Of
I
course.
can't see him wielding a
Yeah.
lightsaber
Yeah.
if he's one of the kids.
Sounds like he says he's already taped an audition. It's well received by those in the casting process. He'll be flying into Los Angeles for a second audition that will bring him face to face with Abrams. I mean, sure, this could be all real. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he really could be, but who knows if that's really
For his sake,
Yeah,
I hope he gets it because he won't have to work ever again
yeah, true. That's very true.
if he nails this role.
I mean, and to update, I have not gotten a call back still because they watched all the online submissions this
Yes.
past December. They were supposed to give callbacks this month. I have
Well,
yet
you
to
never know. My
receive-
phone can ring here.
You have to
soon.
receive it. It's still early January. Okay, more movie news. J.J. Abrams has been updated. It's been updated why J.J. Abrams and all this whole writing switcheroo happened. Why Michael Arndt left the writing team or left being the writer for Episode 7. Basically, I'm just going to read this quote here. This came from The Hollywood Reporter. So, and this is all confirmed, right? This is real.
I think it is real.
Michael Arndt left due to a difference in opinion on which characters to emphasize for the whole trilogy. Arndt is said to have focused on the offspring of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. Now, okay, we'll just talk about it later. With the original trilogy heroes taking as supporting roles. Abrams, however, wanted Episode 7 to focus on the classic trio of characters so audiences could have one more chance to enjoy them before a fitting send-off. The new characters, the offspring, will now be in supporting roles, according to these sources, and take center stage in Episode 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Some characters have disappeared from the Arndt script, and new ones are being drafted. Boom.
Boom.
Two other interesting tidbits. George Lucas participated in the debate over the script changes, but acquiesced to Abrams and Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. The producers are searching for a 20-something female actress who is either a mixed race or black, supposedly to play either the daughter or granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Now that is interesting.
That's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's the first time I actually just read that little
Oh,
tidbit.
yeah. That I don't.
Granddaughter.
That almost makes me think that's not true.
Yes.
The whole story. So
True, yes.
Because I don't know how I feel about that.
A granddaughter. So, I mean, because we know he was with Duchess Satine, Clone Wars,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
But not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not really together.
So we don't know if he had another lady on the side.
I mean, it's possible. The only thing I can think of is possible he had a relationship while he was on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Because he was on Tatooine for 19 years.
That's true.
That's the only thing I can explain. Now,
Mm-hmm.
they had talked about, that's been rumored that they would do an Obi-Wan movie
Mm-hmm.
while he was on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Which would bring Ewan McGregor back. Like, that would be one of the most awesome things I think you can do.
Yeah.
Because Ewan McGregor wants to be Obi-Wan again.
It would make money.
Oh
He's
my
like the best,
God.
one of the best things from the original trilogy.
Absolutely,
From the prequel trilogy.
I think he is the
Yeah.
best thing
Yeah.
to be to play Obi-Wan the way he did.
Yeah.
Because he's the one guy I think, no matter you had a lot of haters. Obviously, everybody hated Jar Jar.
Yeah.
You had a lot of haters of Anakin once Hayden got casted, and even Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
But you had two phenomenal actors in Ewan and Natalie, and Ewan though. I mean, you just watch behind the scenes stuff. Like he loved being a Star Wars character.
Yes.
I mean, he loved it, and he's already mentioned 100 times. Like,
Yeah.
I would do it in a heartbeat. You
Yeah.
kidding me? So I really think that they should bring him back as the Ghost in these new ones, and I think they need to do him on Tatooine,
Yeah.
and that would probably explain.
Yeah.
That's the only way I think you can explain if that is true.
Yes.
Is you have to do a movie to show him getting in a relationship.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which I'd be okay with then.
That would give a story for the movie.
Absolutely.
Love thing.
Absolutely.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to the beginning though. It's aren't wanting to focus on the offspring of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. Does that mean Luke has a kid?
That means Luke has a kid, I guess.
All of them have kids? But maybe that's
Yeah.
all different now. I mean, because it's
Right.
So characters characters have left, new characters are coming. So that's a lot.
Which means you actually could have Ben Skywalker, and then you could have Jason and Jaina Solo.
Mm-hmm.
If you go by the expanded universe.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Then that would mean Mara Jade is in it.
Let's see. Here's a quick update. Someone from Club Jade, which is a news source, has an interesting theory. Oh, it's just a theory about the Obi-Wan's offspring. Okay, never mind. But yeah. But let's just lead. It just kind of leads.
We only
us,
do our own theories.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Let's go to the biggest thing probably. Story group.
Yes.
This whole new thing, because last week.
Now,
Yeah. Let's talk.
Last week, half our show was about this whole continuity thing. How Dark Horse, giving up ending their rights to the comics and graphic novels, Marvel picking that up, as well. It seems like as well as the novelizations almost. It seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe Del Rey will still publish maybe the novels, but all of that is going to be basically. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because it's still Lucasfilm. It's still Lucas Books.
Yeah.
But we had talked about like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for them to really figure out what's going to be in the continuity of the movies. Because right now, that is the continuity. The movies and the television shows are full-on continuity. Little things like Force Unleashed, maybe some other things, maybe some video games, I'm not sure. I know Force Unleashed for sure.
Yes.
And actually, I do believe some of the comics are. Like, there was a comic that I read that had, speaking of, a Darth Maul line that took place during the Clone Wars. I'm pretty sure that's probably canon. But anyway, this is a perfect opportunity for them to start really... And we weren't even really talking about totally of the expanding universe stuff. We just basically figured... The new movies are going to dictate what is canon and what not, because it's going to eliminate a lot of those stories. But what is their job
the next
now?
day?
Yeah, the next day this comes out.
Well, Leland Chi, who's known as the Holocron Keeper,
Yes,
who's like for many years.
I just followed him on Twitter.
Yeah, for many years he's been this guy who's been in charge of categorizing, I guess, and just quantifying all this expanded universe stuff. Just basically storing it and being the go-to guy for any information about expanded universe stuff. And his Twitter account, a lot of it is people will tweet him questions about the expanded universe or anything Star Wars, and he would tweet him back with the answer. So I guess someone asked him about the canon. Basically, Leland Chi responded to this. I'll just read his tweet. Star Wars canon is now determined by the Lucasfilm Story Group, which at Twitter handle at Infinata, which is Pablo Hidalgo. And I are both a part of. Pablo Hidalgo is a big Star Wars producer. He publishes books and all that stuff. He
did a lot with Clone Wars, I think, did he?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. And I think he's in Rebels. Involved with Rebels.
Yes, he's involved definitely with all Rebels.
Leland Chi and Pablo Hidalgo are both a part of this story group, and there's others that they will not actually reveal who's a part of, which is interesting.
I got to believe Kathleen Kennedy is.
Yeah. So maybe Dave Filoni even.
Maybe Dave, absolutely. Yeah. And possibly JJ if he sticks around.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that was one tweet, and all this information is coming from tweets. That was one tweet, and someone tweeted back about something else about Star Wars comics. Will Star Wars comics be considered canon, or could they still be contradicted by the movies and TV shows? Leland Chi responded, Story Group has a hand in all facets of Star Wars storytelling, including movies, TV, games, and publishing. So he's being very vague, but we kind of can assume the answer, I think. Does that mean, so this is another question, does that mean all projects from here on out that Story Group touch are canon, or is there still a George canon, basically GTC canon, there's like 3 different canons, whatever, etc., a new stuff? So is he basically asking, are there still different types of canon? Leland Chi responds, more so than ever, the canon field will serve us internally simply for classification rather than setting hierarchy. So that's still kind of a complicated answer. Another question: are you implying that the goal is to dispose of the hierarchy and have one cohesive canon? Leland Chi responds, that's definitely a primary goal of the story group, to create basically one cohesive canon.
Yes.
And when are we going to know what is included in the canon, or if it has changed? And the answer is that I can't say. So, being very cryptic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a lot. I mean, basically, it sounds like that they're going to go and figure out everything that happens before episode 7. They're going to try to figure out what can stay and what is considered not canon. But everything from here on out, after episode 7, will be incorporated to one cohesive canon. That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
It's like every book that will be published, video game, comic, TV show, will be considered one canon.
Part of the canon.
Part of the canon.
Yep.
The Star Wars canon.
That's what I'm getting out of it. So basically, yeah, it's exactly what we talked about. I mean,
yes.
We wanted someone to. We even said it, I think, last week, that we want somebody to tell us what stays and goes.
Yes.
And yes, there's not a lot. I think it's obviously. I think it's pretty easy to determine everything prior to episode 6 what stays and what goes.
Yeah, I think it.
I mean, there's stuff that has been knocked in the non-canon, but a lot of that stuff, like Shadows of the Empire, there's depending on if they do a Han Solo movie, if those books actually fit.
Right.
But if you go back to all the way to Knights of the Old Republic, Darth Bane is canon. That's another thing.
That book necessarily. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Darth Plagueis, he's canon. Stuff like that's been in books that we know that is part of, I guess it's not G canon anymore. It's just Star Wars canon.
It's just Star Wars, yeah.
So it would be really cool if they come out and say what of those, especially those old Republic stuff, what is canon, and then so there's a lot. That's the easy part, I think. But yes, but actually, I think it becomes easy too because based on what happens in the movies,
everything's just nope.
Yeah, it's just gone.
I wonder if they'll be very specific where they'll find like a book set after episode 6 before 7 that really doesn't mention Solos or Skywalkers, because there are some books like that are strictly about these tertiary, secondary characters that are very good books.
Well, see, like there's a lot with like Dark Empire that takes place before the kids are even born.
Right.
That'd be cool if that becomes part of canon because like there's a very cool part where Leia gets her first lightsaber. So yeah, that's I'd like to know. But see, that stuff I think that's going to take longer. I think for us to find that out. I
almost don't want there to be anything because that's a bit like Dark Empire, like the Thrawn trilogy. Those are huge events. To not reference them in the movie, that's just. I feel like something would have to be referenced. I don't know, just because it's such a big event.
But the problem is that 30 years is a long time.
That's true.
There's something had to have happened in there. There wasn't just like 30 years of peace.
Yeah, true.
And then, because like one of the good books I think that takes place directly after episode 6 is that Truce of Bactera. And I mean, literally they get called while they're celebrating on Endor, to deal with this crisis. And that has nothing to do really. I mean, there's a little bit of rebels, because there's even when Thrawn shows up, I mean, there's still remnants of the Imperial Navy out there that they still have to fight. So, and I think they even talked about there being Imperial presence, in this new, because they talked about, Hugo Weaving being an Imperial officer. So there's still Imperial remnants, it seems like, even 30 years after.
I would say so, yeah, just little pockets. Maybe it's like Switch where they're the rebels or something like that.
So I think, don't you think that it would be, don't you think it would satisfy a ton of Star Wars if they said the Thrawn trilogy? Now, when does the Thrawn trilogy actually take place?
Like 6-7 years after episode 6.
No, it's longer than that, I think, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Because Dark Empire is like 5 years. I think
it's pretty soon because Leia's pregnant in Dark Empire, I think.
Is she really? I think she's pregnant in Thrawn trilogy.
No, the kids are born. The kids are
they're
several
alive
years
then?
old. Yeah.
Oh,
They're several years old because they're using the
It's been a
Force.
long
They're doing
time
stuff.
since I.
Let's bring this up.
But yeah, I'll look it up. But I think a lot. Yeah, I definitely think. So, Thrawn trilogy consisted of 3 books: Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and Last Command, and it takes place 9 years after the Battle of Yavin.
9 years. Yavin.
So that's only 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So, yeah, it says about 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
See, but even that story has been retconned a little bit. It's been redone. It's been kind of contradicted a little bit because there's a villain in that story named Jorah Saboth, who's a Jedi, and in the Thrawn trilogy, he's a clone of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he's since been rewritten to be just a regular old Jedi from the Clone Wars. So like they're even like Expanded Universe even contradicts itself. So it's just it's hard to even put a finger on that really.
Now I read I've actually got the whole Dark Empire series. I think you do too.
Fantastic. That's my favorite.
And so Dark Empire is. Now, see, this is weird. So, Dark Empire is 6 years after Battle of Endor. So, it's after the Thrawn trilogy? See, I thought it was always before.
I'm sorry. Wait, Dark Empire?
Yeah, this says 6 years after.
See, that might be a contradiction because there's no kids.
Yeah, there's not.
But the kids are like, so remember, I specifically remember.
That is strange. I always thought Dark Empire definitely took place before.
I'll look up really fast.
Because it says approximately 10 years after the Battle of Yavin, which is 6 years after Return of the Jedi. That's crazy.
See, like Jason was born 9 ABY, so that's heir to the Empire.
9 ABY, yeah.
So
he's not, but he's not in. They're not in Dark Empire, are they?
I don't remember them being in Dark Empire.
I don't think they were kids then. Because I just recently read Dark Empire. I don't remember.
It's been a while for me, but I don't remember them.
Wow, yeah, because Dark Empire is about Luke turning to the dark side.
Yeah,
he basically has no choice to surrender to the Emperor and become his new apprentice, and that's when Leia, takes upon herself to go find a lightsaber and try to bring Luke back to the light side.
This is interesting. And Heir to the Empire was published before Dark Empire, though, which is still strange. Like, why wouldn't they? Oh, well. See? They're contradicting themselves. Something needs to set it right. The story group needs to set it right. What stays and what goes.
Okay, here's behind the scenes a little bit. The original idea for Dark Empire revolved around the Empire using an imposter in Darth Vader's armor to use. The concept was personally shot down by Lucas himself. Instead, Lucas directed them to bring back the Emperor through cloning. It is unclear if Lucas suggested the concept himself or merely approved it when pitched. Additionally, Dark Empire was originally set shortly after the Battle of Endor, as that was the time frame in which the previous Marvel Comics series had left off. During the writing of the Thrawn trilogy, Timothy Zahn was asked to incorporate references and elements from Dark Empire into his books, since they were set chronologically later than the comics. Zahn refused, however, and so Dark Empire was relocated to being set after the events of Zahn's books. Some minor dialogue and art were altered to reflect this change, as it was too far along in the production to implement any major corrections and references to the Thrawn trilogy. Were inserted into the text of Dark Empire's opening crawl.
Does it say when that change happens? Because I might have read. I feel like I might have read before the change happened.
Correct. I think. Well, I have the original prints.
Yeah.
So nothing changed in this Dark Empire that suggested anything that happened in Thrawn.
I'm looking at Jason Solo's appearances. He's in Dark Empire 2. He's mentioned in the first.
Now, see, I haven't read Dark Empire 2.
I have. I barely remember it.
And that takes place how far?
It's pretty soon after.
Pretty soon after?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty.
So there's major.
There's a lot of changes.
Wow. This is.
Anyways, that's the story group. They're gonna solve it for us.
Yeah, there's going to be a major.
Yeah.
I mean, so almost what it sounds like, unless they really did figure out the kinks, it looks like both of these stories can't survive. Like it sounds like either one can go and one can stay.
Shall go, one shall, whatever.
Which is hard to. If you had to choose, it'd be hard because both stories are pretty incredible.
I would choose Thrawn trilogy.
Just
because the whole Emperor coming back. I feel like.
Yeah.
That's so huge.
Yeah.
But Thrawn, because you can bring Thrawn. He's dead. He died though. But anyways, he had a clone.
Anyway,
or something.
So that's interesting. I guess we'll figure it out what becomes canon and what not, because
we'll know soon. I feel like.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a big month. Next couple of months.
Well, I don't think that there's any way we could find out until after the movie's released.
I feel like we'll know some though when the plot is released, official plot synopsis, maybe the first trailer. Mm-hmm. We'll know at least some.
But I don't think there'll be any kind of continuity release.
No,
like any kind of lockdown book that says this is the chronological order of the Star Wars universe that they start adding to. You know what I mean? I don't think you can do that until after the movie's out.
That'll keep changing
because well, that's the thing is hopefully it doesn't change. It just gets added.
True.
That's I think the goal of that story group is to prevent things from changing.
It's just like,
I mean, they do have a lot of work on their hands. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. They've got to sift through a ton of stories.
Well, I think Leland Cheed, he knows. I feel like he has a grasp.
He does
on what's out there.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing is that as soon as the script gets written, he's probably the one that could say, "Okay, these books, they're gone."
Yeah, you just like flip it. Okay, mark off these guys.
Yeah,
mark off these whole 20 years. The whole new Jedi Order gone.
Gone. Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Oh my gosh, so much money spent buying these books.
I know. And there's people out there that have read everything.
Yes,
you know,
my buddy Adam's read a lot.
Man, I'm actually glad I haven't, because I'm with you. Like I was really wanting to go back and because I didn't know we were getting more movies. You know, I was like, I got to read something. You know, get Star Wars fixed. But wow,
that was basically me in middle school and high school reading these books. Adam's read like all the X-Wing series, I think. Mm-hmm. New Jedi Order. He's read just about anything.
Wow.
So let's keep going a little bit. Another pretty big news about the Clone Wars, all that unaired episodes. We know we're getting bonus content, some form or another, but there's one storyline that we haven't heard of until now. What's going to happen with Darth Maul? Because we were left with a pretty big cliffhanger. But now it has been announced that Dark Horse will publish that story arc that we were supposed to get with Darth Maul. This final story arc with Darth Maul will be published, I guess, what does it say? It begins in May. It's a 4-part miniseries called Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, begins in May. And basically, it was being said that it was the finale, the finale to the Darth Maul storyline. People were saying, it was the finale of the Clone Wars, but Dave Filoni has kind of, I'll read some more about it, but he said that it's not the finale of Clone Wars, but it's just the finale of Darth Maul. And let's see, it says, Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, sees a full-scale return of Darth Maul to the Star Wars universe and into a head-to-head battle with his former master, Darth Sidious. And it will go more into Dathomir and its inhabitants like the Night Brothers, and even a new character called Brother Viscus. And that's basically all the official plot synopsis. But Dave Filoni, soon after, came out with a statement, kind of just clearing some water of some of it. And I'll read some highlights because he did this on his Facebook page, and there's a big post about it. Basically, he says that's what he feels like is the finale of the Clone Wars is what we're going to see as bonus content. And he can't, obviously he can't get into the plot of it, but everything that they conceptualized with the story arc, all the storyboards, all the scripts, all the dialogue, all the artwork that they did, Dave Filoni gave everything to Dark Horse for them to adapt as they wish. Now, hopefully it will be a faithful adaptation. We can only assume it's canon, I'm pretty sure it'll be canon.
Absolutely.
But basically, yeah, this is what we're gonna get. What we saw, and it's weird. It's a 4-part, so I guess maybe each comic would have been an episode, but pretty much everything. Yeah, this is it. This is what we'll see. And it's funny because Sam Witwer, who was the voice of Darth Maul, even tweeted like, "It's a shame we're not doing this," because he knew the story. He said like, I was really looking forward to shooting these episodes.
Yes.
But yep.
Yeah, but we're still going to get those finished pieces
Right.
Eventually, which
Right.
I hope they get that out soon.
Right. Last little bit of news. There's the newest Entertainment Weekly issue has a couple. It spotlights Star Wars Rebels, and I haven't read that article, so I don't know if there's any new information. I doubt it. But it has a couple new images of the Inquisitor, the new villain of Rebels, and his lightsaber. Pretty cool. Very excited. Just super excited for
I
that.
know, man. Can't wait. Can't wait for that.
That's all the news we got for you.
That's it.
The big stuff.
Good stuff. Of course, you got to do some trivia. Trivia. All right. We'll finish up with trivia,
Yep.
and then you can go.
Okay.
And you can wait till we do this again next week.
Yep.
All right. So the record right now, I'm 25-17. Casey, 23-19. Got one back on me last week. All right. So you pick the number again if you want, Case.
Oh yeah.
From the Return of the Jedi era, which is question 2086 to 2500.
Okay. Say it again.
2086 to 2500. So a lot of numbers there.
Gosh, you picked it. I picked it last week.
All right. I'm going to say 2, 3, 8, 9.
2389.
How about that?
Great. Those are my social security numbers.
2, 3,
Not true. Don't try it.
8, 9. Oh, wow! I picked the central one here.
Ah.
All right, so let's see. 2, 3, 8, 9. All right. Here we go. This is a big question, so
Okay.
because it's the central question on this page. The rebel leaders outlined their plan of attack against the Emperor and his second dreaded Death Star. General Solo volunteered to lead a strike team on the forest moon of Endor, while his old friend General Calrissian chose to lead the strike against the Death Star itself. Solo told Calrissian that he could take the Millennium Falcon. Quote, "You need all the help you can get," Solo said. "She's the fastest ship in the fleet." As the two parted ways on their separate missions, Solo turned for one last look at his trusted ship. During the battle, Calrissian and the rest of the rebel fleet fought gallantly against the attacking TIE fighters while they waited for the shield surrounding the Death Star to deactivate. Then Admiral Akbar made the announcement, "The shield is down. Commence attack on the Death Star's main reactor." Zooming through the Death Star, Wedge Antilles announced to the group, "Stay alert. We could run out of room real fast." As if on cue, the Millennium Falcon struck a beam, losing an important piece of equipment. What did it lose? A, the hyperspace integrator. B, the main sensor rectenna.
Ew.
Yeah. C, the upper quad laser cannon. Or D, the warp vortex stabilizer.
I'll go with E, the DirecTV satellite dish.
Exactly, it was the satellite dish.
So it was B, the rectanna?
So it's that thing, right?
Yeah. The rectanna. Was that B?
B was the main sensor rectenna.
I'll go with that. Wait, go through one more time.
A, the hyperspace integrator.
Okay.
B, the main sensor rectenna. C, the upper quad laser cannon. Or D, the warp vortex stabilizer.
I'll go with B.
Wow. I think that's what it is too, but
It sounds like it could be something else.
I know.
But
it's definitely not the quad laser cannon.
Right. I don't think it's A.
The hyperspace integrator or the warp vortex stabilizer. The warp vortex. I don't even know what a warp vortex stabilizer
Well, I would say it'd
do.
be A or B or D.
It
I'm
looks
going
like an
with
antenna,
B.
so I'm going
Yeah.
to go B also.
Yeah.
That's got to be the obvious answer. So here's B.
Woo.
Okay, correct. All right.
I love that scene.
Ding, 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 ding,
Too
ding.
close. I want to know if Han Solo ever saw that. Yeah. What if Han Solo ever noticed
that? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Listen, I sent out a scratch.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he had to confess eventually, I guess.
It's good.
All right, so that does it for this week's show. That puts me at 26-17. Casey's at 24-19. We are Inside the Force. You can follow us on Twitter at Inside the Force. Go to InsideTheForce.com. Check out all 41 episodes right there. You can subscribe to us on iTunes right there. We're also on Stitcher Radio and TuneIn Radio. Both apps are available on iTunes and on the Apple App Store or on your Android apps. RSS feed is right there on our website, InsideTheForce.com. You can use your RSS reader to get all the latest episodes. Every Tuesday, we are Inside the Force. Casey over there is at Kryptonian1138. I am D. Cottingham 21 on Twitter. Check us out there. So, in a way, Casey Cooley.
We have stolen a small Imperial shuttle, disguised as a cargo ship, and using a secret Imperial code, a strike team will land on the moon and deactivate the shield generator. But then, I wanted to say, though, like, General Solo.
General Solo?
Yeah.
Is your strike team assembled? Yeah.
Oh, my team's ready. Just don't have a command crew for the shuttle.
That's right.
Yeah.
General Madine. Now, the whole time I thought it was Nadine.
Me too. I really did.
It's actually Madine. 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 Yeah. So, all right. Thank you so much for checking us out. Tune in next week as we continue episode 6 month. For Casey Cooley.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm David Cottingham. May the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.